Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story is titled, My 25 male boyfriend, 28 male, tried to screw over my best friend, 26 female at work. I told her and he got fired. He blames me now and wants me to pick him or her. Lots of background into this. When I was 19, I came out as gay to my super religious family and was immediately disowned. They kicked me out, stopped paying for my education, and stopped talking to me. I literally lost everyone in the extended family. I was all alone and unprepared. I was going to an expensive private university and couldn't afford it anymore. I had to drop out and start working full time. At that time, my friend Claire at the university really helped me out. At that time, I didn't know that she was from a very rich family. She never lived to show it. She helped me with small things here and there, allowed me to stay with her until I could get my act together. She even paid for me to get therapy when I was dealing with abandonment issues from my family. Really, the kindness that she did for me is something I'll never forget. We remained very close friends after that. I didn't go back to college, just kept working at rather low-wage jobs. A few months after she graduated, she asked if I would like a job. She wanted me to be a driver/assistant. She was working in their own family's business and her previous driver was a boring yes ma'am, no ma'am, old guy that she wasn't comfortable with. She offered me a superb salary and benefits, like 8 times what I was making at my job at the time, and I accepted. I've been working for her for 2 years now and it's been very nice. The workload is low. I drive a super comfy expensive car. I get paid to spend time with my best friend, and all in all, this is yet another huge favor for me that she's done. Here comes my boyfriend, Jack. He works for Claire's family's business. I met him about 18 months ago and he hates Claire. He believed she is a spoiled, selfish girl who's only progressing because her dad owns the empire, as he puts it. I didn't know that Jack hates her only until a few weeks ago when they apparently had a clash at work. I'm not aware of the details or whose fault it was, since that's not really my job, but I became aware of the conflict. Claire doesn't have strong opinions towards Jack though. When she learned that we were dating back then, she told me that he seems like a good, hardworking person. Jack told me that he's going to put Claire in her place. I asked what he wants me to do. He didn't say much except that she won't see it coming. I kept pushing and he told me. It was basically messing up something that will make Claire look very bad and the confidence in others in her would take a huge hit. I begged him not to do it as it was not just wrong and unethical but just petty. He seemed to have made up his mind and I couldn't do anything to change it. I really had no choice at that point. For one, I had to do the right thing. For two, Claire has done so much for me and I owe her so much in my life, and as a result have a very strong loyalty to her. I couldn't sit and let something like this happen to her, so I told her everything. She appreciated my honesty and told me that she knows it must have been difficult to do this to my boyfriend and that she won't forget it. She took care of the whole thing and Jack was fired. Now he's angry that I told her. He says that I picked her over him and I betrayed him. I keep telling him that I begged him not to do it, but he put me in the position of having to choose to do the right thing or keep quiet and let him do something wrong to my best friend. He says he can't believe that I did it. So now he wants me to show him that I love him and I'm loyal to him by cutting contact with Claire and quitting the job. I don't want to do that. Claire is my best friend and I owe her a lot. This job is great and I want to keep it, but I don't want to break up with him either. He made a horrible mistake and he's angry that he lost it, but he keeps pressuring me to make a decision. I'm just tired of it. Is there any chance for our relationship? TLDR. Boyfriend wanted to screw over my best friend at work. I told her. He was fired. Now he wants me to prove my love to him by quitting my job and ending my friendship with best friend. Is there a hope for our relationship? I mean, this one's pretty straightforward to me. Jack wasn't fired because OP chose Claire over him. He was fired because he deliberately planned to sabotage a co-worker and was stupid enough to tell that co-worker's best friend exactly what he intended to do. Jack created this entire situation and still seems more interested in punishing OP for exposing him than actually accepting the responsibility for what he did. Absolutely not the arsehole. But a commenter says, "You really need a new boyfriend. He's not a good person. His plan is to basically ruin your professional career while isolating you from your social supports. Wow, true love right there. You can really tell he's concerned for you as a person and not just a petty and spiteful little troll. Opie says yeah, I should stop thinking that he only made a mistake, especially since he's showing no remorse. Commodore says that wasn't a mistake. It was planned and deliberate. He's a nasty piece of work, and if he actually believed half the things he says about Claire, he wouldn't need to contrive a scenario to make her look bad. Green says, a mistake is leaving your car door unlocked and getting robbed. A mistake is forgetting to turn your oven off and causing a fire. A mistake is not remembering you were supposed to go to your friend's birthday party until the next morning. A mistake is not smashing someone's window and stealing from them. It is not deliberately burning down another person's house. It is not crashing a party to humiliate the guest of honor. Those are deliberate malicious actions. His mistake is the same type of mistake Brock Turner made, aka deliberate actions that are only a mistake in that he didn't mean to get caught but did mean to commit the crime. Also, are you sure he was interested in you, not trying to use you against her in some way? Opie says, I don't know what to believe anymore. He seemed very interested in me and never used me against her before, at least not that I know of. Green replies saying, but he could have been hoping when you two started dating that you would say something that would allow him to claim she was homophobic, or he could have been thinking he would get a better position at the company, being your SO, and when he didn't, he got angry at her. He could claim you told him something she said or did and start rumors that would hurt her without doing anything official. I'm just saying assume that this guy had ulterior, negative motives for everything he ever did. Opie says, you might have a point. Last year he asked me to put in a good word for him with Claire because there was a promotion to grab. I told Claire that Jack told me to tell her that he's interested and ready. He didn't get the promotion, although he was promoted 6 months later to a different position. Green replies again saying, and got angry at her because he put in the work, aka dating you, and didn't want to get what he deserved, aka the promotion. There was a post here yesterday or the day before from someone who inherited money and gave his family literally thousands of dollars worth of property, and they were angry that he hadn't given them enough. Some people near money tend to get an entitled mindset and lash out against those who have it. I'm guessing he saw you as a fast track to success and was angry at her for not giving him what he thought he deserved. Opie responded saying, the more I think, the more I see that you may be right. Oh fuck. Opie comes in with their update and says, most of you were right. I was being played from the beginning. I confronted Jack about the whole thing and asked him if he considered my friendship with Claire when he started to date me. He at first refused to admit it and kept telling me that he loves me, but since we're getting nowhere, he said, why hide it anymore? Yeah, I approached you to get info on her. Do you really think I'd be interested in a waste of clothes like you? Yeah, he said that exactly. He told me that he first started dating me for getting information and to use me to help him get promotions, and he made the mistake of thinking I was his when he wanted to take down Claire. He left. So that's what happened. I was played for 1.5 years. I'm just happy that he couldn't succeed in hurting Claire, otherwise I couldn't have forgiven myself. I needed someone to talk to after all this, and that had to be Claire, so I went to her flat and talked for hours about all of it. I was really embarrassed for falling for Jack's bullshit and putting her at risk, but she kept telling me that she's proud of me since I protected her when she needed someone to have her back. So yeah, we're at great terms. I won't ever let this happen again. I learned my lesson. No more dating anyone who Claire has any sort of professional relationship with. I'll be a better and more loyal friend for her from now on. But now, I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Off My Chest subreddit and says, to all parents of Reddit, please keep your children under control. Because of a careless parent, I am now disabled. It's another night where the pain won't let me sleep. Might as well get this off my chest while I wait for the painkillers to kick in. I, 22 female, used to work at a thrift store close to my house from December of last year until April. I used to go thrift in there with my mother. I applied out of nostalgia. The work was fast paced, but I liked it. Would have liked it more if the clothes were cleaner, if the pay was minimum wage, and, if there were no kids that will attack you. We had many regulars who with time I became acquainted with, mostly because I was the only Spanish-speaking worker on the sales floor. One of them was a mother of 3, whose children always caused trouble, running around the store, breaking stuff, and no matter how many times I told the mother to keep her kids in line, she'd only scold them for a second and let them cause havoc around the store again. I never would have guessed that one of her kids would attack me. This wasn't the first time the kid hit me, but it was the first time where it genuinely hurt. I don't know what that kid's head was made out of, but when the kid headbutted me full force on the hip while attending his mother, I curled and cried from the pain. I had to prevent the child from hitting me again while his mother was still looking at the red dress I handed her. I only guessed too why the kid attacked me was because I had the red dress in my hands, and the kid was playing pretend to be a bull. He was doing that foot thing you see bulls doing in bullfighting. My managers didn't call an ambulance for me or referred me to a work accident doctor like they should have. I had to limp to my car and drive myself to my family doctor where I waited for 2 hours to be seen. I was given an x-ray, ultrasound, MRI, and painkillers. They detected an ovarian cyst, most likely from the hit. Doctors thought that was the source of my pain, but it healed since, and till this day, 6 months after the work accident, I'm still in pain and I still limp. I'm currently in a workers' comp case with a thrift store's insurance, only because the mother fled when my co-workers confronted her and never came back. My lawyers said that when the case is over, I'm most likely going to be on some sort of disability pension, paid by the thrift store's insurance company, until or if I make a full recovery. It's been 6 months with no signs of getting better. I can't walk long distances, I can't sit down for long, I can't crouch, I can't jump, I can't run, and I can't lay on my left side anymore. The pain won't let me sleep. I constantly feel something whooshing around my left hip joint and have nightmares about that day. What I'm trying to say is, I really miss the mobility and life I used to have. My life is just constant pain now, and it's making me depressed. So to all the parents who might see this, please, for the love of God, keep your children under control. Thank you everyone for your comments, support and advice. I'm really grateful to all the kind people here. I'm removing the post because I started getting threats from users who are calling this all bullshit. I know now there's no correlation with the ovarian cyst in the work accident, but my doctors had told me it was. I'm sorry for the confusion. I know it all sounds absurd, but it happened and I'm in pain every day because of a careless mother and a reckless kid. I simply just wanted to get this off my chest. I'm going to keep the post up, purely because so many comments were so helpful, and I want to mention some things commented here to my lawyers. Again, thank you everyone who gave me advice and shared similar stories. I'm feeling hopeful and will advocate more for my health. Commenter says, as a doctor, I completely assure you that external trauma cannot cause an ovarian cyst. I'm very sorry for your injury. Opie responded saying, I've read some comments about this and I'm almost shocked by it. My family doctor had explained to me that's what had caused it, so I just took it. When it burst a couple of days later, I was put on birth control to help it heal. I genuinely am just finding this out, and I'm sorry for all the confusion it caused. Commenter says, American doctors be like, are you a woman with a broken bone? Try birth control. So, 3 months later, Opie came in with their first update and said, it's been around 3 months since I posted here ranting about my work accident. If this is your first time seeing this, I had a work accident at my old job at a thrift store where a kid who was known to be trouble headbutted me in the hip, and the mother denied it all and fled. Ever since, I've been more persistent with a workers' comp after everyone told me that I was misinformed and not represented well. I waited this long because just this month I got the news of what's really wrong with me. At first I was told that my ovary and the cyst around it was the cause of the pain, that the kid hit me so hard that it caused the cyst to form and pop. Just thinking that's what I believed is silly, but like I said, I was misinformed. 2 MRIs with contrast later, they figured out I had a labral tear on the left hip joint, as well as hip bursitis, a swelling of the bursae. I haven't been able to work or walk well since April of last year. I've been taking it as calmly as I can, but finally I'm going to receive treatment, 2 steroid injections to the hip. The doctor is hopeful that my labral tear will heal, but he warned me the bursitis might be permanent. This is where I am right now. I'm just waiting for the shots to get approved. I did start receiving TTD checks, but the pain is still a 24/7 thing. At least my muscle relaxants help me sleep through the night. So Opie came back in 3 years later, August 8th, 2026, and says, I don't know if anyone will remember the post I made 2 years ago on a different account. Had to delete my old account since I was getting way too much hate for judging the mother of the kid who injured me. I'm talking hundreds of people arguing in the comments and many nasty DMs. However, after 3 very long years, it's nearing its end. First 3 paragraphs are a recap. I used to work at a very popular thrift store chain in the US. I started working for them when I was 21 in 2022. It was a very underpaid job, but I enjoyed it. Being the only Hispanic on the team meant I was the person who had to help Spanish-speaking clients. Most of them were incredibly nice, but a frequent shopper, a mum of 3, none older than 10, would give the store a horrible time. She'd let her children run around the store unattended. They'd climb the clothing racks, cause havoc in the toy section, and damage whatever they could. I felt more like a babysitter at that point, and of course, no matter how many times I'd tell the mother to tend to her children, she never once listened. One day in April 2023, the same mother and children came to the store, and the mum had questions about a dress she saw on the racks. She handed me the dress, seeing if I could figure out how to style it, and I swished it around trying to figure it out. In the corner of my eye, I see a middle child, maybe 6 years old, doing that same mannerism bulls do before they attack the matador. I didn't mind it and continued helping the mother when the kid suddenly rams into me full force with his head, right on my left hip joint. Only the people who have experienced a labral tear will know how that felt. I couldn't fathom how much pain I was in over something so ridiculous. The mother didn't even berate her son or told him to stop. In fact, the kid tried ramming me for a second time and I had to physically hold his head and yell at the mum to keep her child away from me. The rest was such a haze. I don't remember asking to go home early, but I ended up at my primary doctor, too broke to go to the ER. They thought this was an ovary issue at first. I used up all of my sick days trying to recover, and I quit my job once my coworker told me that both of my managers were speaking ill of me, insisting I was faking my injury. The mother never came back to my workplace either. Once my savings were emptied out trying to figure out what was wrong with me, my family convinced me to open a workers' compensation case. It took a little over a year to figure out I had a hip labral tear and minor damage to the femur. My job's insurance and their doctors insisted and swore for years that the injury wasn't related to the accident, and I caused my own labral tear by being obese. Luckily, my WC doctor always had my back, and I'm forever indebted to him. I was put on a no work notice for 3 years, receiving disability checks. However, my job did not care and pushed to place me under light work this entire time, since they're a very well-known company for hiring disabled folk. I'm telling you, as someone who's worked there and saw how they treat the disabled and seniors, I was not going to be comfortable there like they insisted. For 3 years, my life was on hold. I lost my early 20s to this case. I was too scared of going outside because of private investigators. I was in too much pain to do anything, and I lost my dad during this time too. I'd planned to kill myself when I got too drunk at a Christmas party and told my plans to who drunk me thought was Elijah Wood. I was put on suicide watch, and with my boyfriend's help and my siblings' support, I got a little better. For 3 years, my old job's insurance denied the surgery I needed. I lost enough weight to undergo the knife, but they held to their guns right until the end. My labral tear wasn't related to what happened at my job. I decided I couldn't take it anymore and decided to settle my case instead. My lawyer's assistant mentioned the idea to me that I could settle and get the surgery in my hometown in Mexico, recover both mind and body. This idea sold me immediately. I didn't even consider this was an option. Yesterday, during the final mediation, my job's insurance finally admitted that the injury was related to the work accident and offered to schedule the surgery right then and there instead of settling. I didn't even consider it. Our job's insurance company is actually evil and tried settling for only $20,000 until my lawyer managed to double it and then some. It does suck that after 3 years, I settled for $58,000, and that's before legal fees. However, I'm free from Evil Deed Inc., and that's worth more than any amount of money in the world. Some might call me stupid for settling for so little, but you try being belittled by every doctor they brought forward, pointing at your weight instead of the actual injury for 3 years. Try enduring shots to the hip joint without prior notice or consent, and then try driving home because transportation was never approved. Get denied physical therapy or occupational therapy every single time, no matter how many doctors insisted I should get on it. I wasn't even on any arthritis medication despite my record saying I've developed severe osteoarthritis and hip bursitis. I took enough ibuprofen to give myself long-lasting stomach damage, and gave myself a right hip injury from overworking it all these years. I want full control of my medical treatments. I don't want to be scared of going outside anymore. I want to catch up with everyone my age. For the first time in years, I'm hopeful towards my future. Once I get the surgery, I want to fulfill my goal. The whole reason why I even started working was to afford college. When I'm physically better, the first thing I'll do is hike the mountain I couldn't before, because that's where my dad's ashes are. The nightmare is nearing its end. I survived. Yippee. Hope you had some comments below this. One said the mum actually came back the very next day as if nothing happened. Instead of immediately calling the police, my co-worker surrounded the mum yelling at her and tried to trap her in the store until the cops arrived. She obviously got really scared and managed to flee before they could even call the police. I tried working for a week after I used up my vacation days, just to see if she'd come back. However, once I realized she wasn't coming back, it wasn't worth the hip pain to continue working. And once I heard that managers were gossiping about my injury, I quit. I heard years later that 2 other co-workers walked out the day after me in solidarity. Edit. Forgot to mention I wasn't there when the mother came back to the store, for obvious reasons. If I had been there, it would have gone way differently. Also, I forgot to mention that for the first year and a half of my injury, I was a caregiver to my dad, who later died of pulmonary fibrosis. Looking back, I genuinely don't know how I managed to do that. The day he died was the day I found out I was being followed by private investigators. My dad was already at home in hospice care. My siblings were taking turns during the night to monitor him as he was deteriorating fast since entering a coma-like state, where he couldn't stay awake for more than a couple of seconds. I stayed up with him from 4 AM until I had to leave to my WC's doctor's office to receive the private investigator news that I was unaware of. The last words I told him was that I'd tell him all about my doctor's visit when I came back. He nodded and smiled, and I kissed his forehead. When I came back home, already mortified over private investigators, my dad was already gone. I don't think I can ever forgive my old job from robbing me the last moment I could have had with my dad. Everyone but me managed to say goodbye. My caregiver and survivor's guilt is pretty strong, even after 2 years since his passing. When my lawyer told me if I went ahead with the surgery with them that they'd expect me back to work, I decided to settle, cut ties forever with them. I don't want to return ever. Not only for the mistreatment, but because I never managed to properly say goodbye to my dad. Fuck goodwill, man. So this post made to the Boro, which is Best of Reddit Updates subreddit, and Bitter Trees on this said, "That's the thing about big corpos. They have the money to drag things on until folks like OP have no choice but to give up or settle just so they can get a semblance of their life back. It's depressing. I understand why OP settled though, and hope that they are doing better every day. Also, shame on those people who berated OP, managers and commenters. I'd like to hope that mother learned something and started actually parenting her kids. But sadly, she probably just found another store and new employees for her kids to harass." And that comment really hit home for me because I saw something, I don't know if it's fair to say similar or not, with my dad. And I'm not trying to shoehorn myself in here, by the way. It just, as I read it, it just popped into my head. He had mesothelioma, was making a claim against his former employer from when he was younger, when apparently he contracted it. Obviously, it can sit dormant for years, etc., before it shows its head. And basically, he was told he has X amount of time to live. And so this money was supposed to help him with his care towards the end of his life, basically. But their lawyers obviously just dragged the whole thing out. And my dad passed away before it was all settled. And his lawyer basically explained to me afterwards that because he had died, they would now have to pay significantly less. And the lawyer basically hinted that's their plan in some ways, because it was pretty much settled shortly after that, after he passed away. So I kind of get why OP would accept the settlement that in some ways seems too small for everything that they've been through. But I completely get it. It's very easy from the outside to say, keep fighting, don't let him get away with it, etc. But these companies, and it's the same in my dad's case, can afford to keep fighting for years. But the person who's injured, sick, grieving, maybe a combination of them, doesn't have the time, doesn't have the energy, and in some cases not the years to give them. But in the end, I really hope that OP can finally put this all behind her now. She's lost years of her life to the pain, fighting for treatment, and constantly having to prove that what happened to her was real. There's no amount of money can give her that time back, but hopefully this settlement at least gives her the freedom to focus on herself, on her recovery, instead of fighting a fucking insurance company. I genuinely wish you nothing but the best, and I really hope that she gets to make that hike for her dad one day. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.